Listen up, you stinking Scotland. I ain't happy with them Bordy Torpadoos. Those slippery flaskets sold me once. They're not even that pointy. I want my personal one to be the biggest and the pointiest. You hear me?
Hi guys, it's Lou from the Barbican Broadcast. Hope you're all having a great day so far. Right, let's get straight into it. So what I was hoping to do for the underslung boarding torpedoes or Bordy Torpadoos is to essentially mount it underneath, as you can imagine, and it's going to essentially go on that rail there. So I found this wonderful claw thing that really nicely slots into that gap. So the idea is that's going to run across there. It's going to have a ram attached to a hydraulic ram attached to the back of it. This leads me on to what I hope to use for the project. I found all these bits and bobs in my junk pile. This was a Angry Birds toy, which I think I got for a couple of pence in a charity shop because it was literally just the arm. And despite undoing the screw that held it all together, it still didn't really sort of budge. So I had to rip it apart from the actual arm, which was a little bit of a shame, but I do hope to use that for the project later on because it's really quite nice in itself. So then we have this tab, which I'm going to remove just so it sits a bit more snugly in location. Then I have these awesome tubes, which I'm going to use as the rail that it slides across. So even at this stage, you can sort of get an idea of what I'm trying to get across. But these tubes are quite short. I don't have many at all, so they are in short supply. So I did think of an alternative. These things are exactly the same diameter, and they slot in these little plumbing sort of things, which I got from Poundland, as I take out a torpedo. Apologies for that. And so whatever I use, I can sort of replace later on if I do want to use those plumbing pieces for the actual purpose. Because as you can imagine, the straws are quite fragile, so it's not an ideal building material, but I have used them in previous projects and they do hold up, although they don't take paint particularly well, so you do have to give them a good sanding. Now this, I can tell you exactly where I got it from. This was from Russell Street in Reading, where I was a former resident, and it was near a bin. It is, of course, the bottom base of a desk Christmas tree. Really nice sort of details on it, so I had to nab that, and about 5 years later I'm using it. And of course I can't do a project without using soap dispenser tubes and the gubbins inside of them, which do actually come out really well, I think anyway. So this is a zap gun from an older project that I did in the summer, and very little work went into that, and I just thought it was actually probably the best gun I've ever made. That was really Orky. So that's what I hope to use, and also just because everything works out well for me, the diameter of the tubes are the same as the diameter of the really strong see-through tubes there as well, which is really cool. I also have these hair curlers. That's a word to say, which might not be perfect, but their diameter is pretty good for the actual torpedoes, and these ones actually slot perfectly over the gun barrels, or rather the till rolls, which I should have ample supply, so that might be a good idea or good foundation for the hydraulic ram. Now these flimsy things are what gardeners use to write down the names of their ridiculously Latin and high Gothic-y sounding plants. They aren't very strong. I wouldn't really advise using them. I have used them in the past, not great. I also have these airline connections, which are pretty cool, and obviously a bit of Lego. Plant ties are also awesome pieces of equipment and a wonderful material to use, so always nab them. You can use it throughout any projects you use. And I saw this from a super drug in Cardiff, and for about £1, I really liked all the detailing on it, and that might be the hydraulic side of the actual ram, so that's pretty good haul for me. And here we have the final boarding torpedo, which I do hope to use for the big boss. So it's going to be a little bit more pointy, a little bit rambunctious in its arrogance, and hopefully that way it'll convey its sort of special place within the other boarding torpedoes. Thank you ever so much for joining me today for the 9th episode of the Giga-Gargant project. Going forward, what I hope to do is to keep the format so that the Wednesday episode will be about everything I'll be using to do the project, and Friday will be an update on the completed project itself. And as you can imagine, it takes quite a few hours just to do any of it, so that way I can keep the videos nice and concise, and hopefully you get a nice little update on the Friday episode. With that said, I just want to say thank you ever so much once again. I hope you all have a great week, and I hope to see you on Friday. Cheers, guys.